Hey guys, what's up? It's Roberto here. Let's talk about Steven Universe. A Single Pale Rose. So this is the newest episode dropped by Cartoon Network, and boy was this one a doozy. The game has changed, my boy. This episode was huge. It was huge for the series moving forward. It was huge for the fan base. It was huge for all the theories that are floating out there. And it was huge for like the characters themselves, like a lot of stuff that happened in this episode, or that was revealed in this episode, makes a lot of previous actions by other characters so much more relatable, and like a lot of stuff just makes sense now. So this episode was, I wouldn't say it was unpredictable, because there are a lot of people that predict almost everything about this episode and about this giant plot twist. But it was definitely a wild ride. I'd say this is one of the most enjoyable episodes I've seen in a while. So let's take a look at Steven Universe episode something. I don't know what number. But it's called A Single Pale Rose. Also, just going to throw this out here. This is a review discussion video. So spoiler alert. Watch the episode if you haven't seen anything, because I'm going to be talking about whatever, So this episode pretty much continues right off the back of Can't Go Back, where Steven knows that Pearl had something to do with the shattering of Pink Diamond, so he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna talk to her, and I'm actually surprised that the Crewniverse didn't like bullshit at all in this episode. Like, this could have easily have been, right? Like, hear me out. This could have easily been a whole episode of Steven trying to figure out how to bring up this subject to Pearl. And then, like, stuff could have gotten in his way, like, happy accidents could have, like, prevented him from, like, saying what he meant, misunderstandings could have happened, and then maybe, like, it all comes out at, like, the very end. Like, that very well could have been this episode, Like, them just teasing it, like, hey, they're finally gonna talk, and then, like, bullshit just happens for, like, the rest of the episode. But no, like, this is one of the first times Steven straight up, like, he was like, I'm gonna talk to Pearl. And then, like, not even a minute or two into the episode, he's bringing it up. Like, the only bullshit really that happened was the whole thing with Amethyst and the phone to begin with. Pearl comes in with her phone. Amethyst is trying to show her how to set it up, and Steven's sitting on the couch, like, he's just, like, looking at Pearl, like, yeah, let's go. But he tries to bring it up, and Amethyst, he even tries to bring it up in the room with Amethyst, which I think is even more interesting. But Amethyst, like, is kind of like, hold on, Steven, I'm showing her how to use this phone. And then the minute she leaves, he brings it up. So like I said, I'm, kudos for the Crewniverse. That very well could have been dragged out, like that whole kind of feeling of Steven trying to talk to Pearl but not being able to. That could have been the whole episode. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But Steven's finally asking these questions. He straight up asks her. He's like, hey, you know how Pearl shattered, or he was like, you know how Mom shattered Pink Diamond? She's like, yeah. Did you? Was it you? And I almost laughed, like, when he said that. I was like, wow, that was pretty upfront. Like, I wasn't sure how he was going to go about it, but good on you, Steven. But as we've seen previously, Pearl keeps covering her mouth, and she can't actually, like, get it out. And up until, like, this episode, I thought, like, something magical was at play that was literally preventing her from speaking about it. But as we find out, it's more just the pact that her and Rose have that prevent her from speaking about it. So it's kind of more of a subconscious thing. So here's my thing, right? Steven is still Rose, for all intents and purposes. So, like, would it really be that dangerous breaking your promise to Steven? Especially because at the time they made the promise, Rose didn't even know Steven was going to be a thing. I feel like Steven would be the exception, I feel like Steven would be the only one that I'd be able to tell, because you still are Rose in, like, almost every sense, except for the fact that you're Steven, if that makes sense. Moving on. So we figure out that it's really just more Pearl stopping herself based on the agreement that she had with Rose previously that's prevented her from talking about this to Steven at any point in time over the past 15 years. Pearl kind of exits, and Steven gets this text message about saying, like, I want to tell you, but I can't. He goes to confront Pearl about it. Pearl says, I never sent that. I put my phone away in my head. So, like, this is what we call framing. This is a perfect example of framing. So in order to get the phone, back to figure out what the hell's going on, because Steven keeps getting these text messages saying, I want to tell you, but I can't. He has to literally go inside Pearl's head. And this is like a great metaphor for Pearl's like subconscious, because it's literally not Pearl as we know her texting Steven. It's one of the Pearls in her memory. So I think that's just a great metaphor for like her subconscious wants to like scream this to Steven. Like her subconscious wants to tell Steven, but she literally can't. So the Crewniverse kind of figured out a pretty interesting way to make Steven go in there and figure it all out. And like there were a lot of people in the beginning who felt that this is how we were going to learn the most about Rose, and whatever happened was through Pearl. She was obviously holding the most secrets ever since back in that one episode when she was trying to tell Steven, and she was like when she first started doing that. So there was really no other way that we were probably going to figure out all this information unless it had something to do with the diamonds, and like maybe they knew about it, and then like we snuck into like their memories or something. But like I felt like, yeah, like a lot of people felt that Pearl was going to be the way that Steven figures it all out, and that ends up being the case. So Steven literally goes inside her head and he meets the different Pearls. So this could be maybe like an analogy for like schizophrenia. Like there are multiple different like versions of Pearls, but I think what it's more getting at is more how Pearl has these repressed psyches. And even the first Pearl, the Pearl that like is kind of closer to the one that we know, like present day Pearl, she's the one sorting everything, and she, like she said herself, she's good at compartmentalizing things and ordering things, and she's like the pleasant one. And she says, that's why I get to be on top. And those guys, I think she says everybody else gets repressed, or I forget what she actually says. She doesn't say repressed, but she says that's why I get to be out front and those guys are tucked away, or something like that. And that is like, if that isn't the most like schizophrenia thing, multiple personality thing that I've heard, like I think that's what they're going for, you know? So Steven's like, what are you talking about? So he goes further in to find the phone, and then we go to the Pearl from Greg's memories, you know, from the past, and she's crying about, you know, their relationship with Rose and what it's gonna be like once she becomes Steven. And so now we see that like all these other Pearls are just so emotionally like bogged down and damaged, and like they're going through so much that those are the ones that get repressed to make, you know, the Pearl that's happy and pleasant and proper and compartmentalizing. So like it's weird, like which one's the real Pearl now? Like is the Pearl we know just her coping Pearl? And then there's like still all these other ones that like, man, it gets deep. Pearl is a deep character, and I knew she was always going to be, but it's cool to see it. So that Pearl's crying, and Steven goes even further into Battlefield Pearl, where she's on, I don't know if it's the Strawberry Battlefield, because they keep alluding to that one, but it might have just been a random one. And even Steven says it himself. He says something about like, I hope your phone's in your pocket and not in your repressed war memories, or something like that. So they even use the word repressed in this episode, which is why I'm saying that's why it's pretty obvious to me that Pearl is like this textbook kind of case of repressed memories and schizophrenia, multiple personalities, and all that stuff. I think that's what they're going for. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm gonna run with. All right. So he goes in further to see the point where what looks like Rose shattering Pink Diamond, but we find out this Rose has green eyes and a Pearl. So bam, it was totally Pearl who did it. Like we finally got it out there. He goes in even further to probably like a little bit before that, and we see the little secret meeting that Pearl and Rose had, talking about what they were gonna do. And what it turns out is that I'm gonna like, bam, Rose was Pink Diamond this whole time. Like what? Like so that was a thing that totally happened. And so this is where the whole like motivation thing kind of gets like weird, because so we basically can't take anything that Garnet said about Rose in a couple episodes back when she was explaining to the off colors. We we can't really take any of that as fact. And we kind of have to like pick and choose the events of what we know. It's like this collective memory kind of thing. A lot of things what Eyeball said was probably true. I guess it didn't seem like she was there when it happened in Pearl's flashback, but she probably was like off screen or something. It looked like it might have happened during a battle or something. But Rose did shatter Pink, but it was really Pearl as Rose and Rose as Pink, because Rose is Pink. So I think the one thing that is true from Garnet's story is when she said that Rose was like a soldier and then found the beauty of the earth and then like rebelled against Pink Diamond. Like that in a very kind of philosophical way is true, you know, since Rose is since Rose is Pink Diamond probably saw the beauty in the earth. So probably, you know, Rose Quartz I don't think ever existed, right? Like that's the thing. Like Rose Quartz was never a Rose Quartz. It was always Pink. So did she pretend to be a Rose Quartz to start the uprising, or was it more like Pink Diamond herself like saw the humans and was like, I can get behind that. I can totally get behind that. And then she masqueraded as Pink Diamond to fight her own forces. And then it's like, and then she obviously talked to Blue and Pink, or Blue and Yellow about it. And then that's the flashback we got the last episode when they were talking to her about like, what is this Rose Quartz? Like, they can't touch you, so crush them. And so she somehow established the entire crystal gems while being Pink Diamond, and apparently without anybody else knowing, except presumably Pearl, right? Because she had Rose's scabbard, or Rose's sword, which Bismuth made. So to be shattered by that means that it had to have been during the war, and it's like, how does she pull that off? How does she pull off being both Pink and Rose at the same time? That's just pretty crazy. She was like fighting herself. I think if there was ever a moment to use the 60s Spider-Man like image, but this revelation means so much for the characters. It means so much for the story. What the hell is Steven going to do going forward? We saw in the preview, if you guys saw the preview for the next episode, which we're not going to get till the summer, which is kind of crazy. The crystal gems, as expected, are freaking out. Like, Pearl's got some explaining to do. Like, how are they going to trust Pearl? And it looked like, you know, Ruby and Sapphire are splitting up, and they're like freaking out, you know, because Pink Rose, as I'm going to call her from now on, Rose Diamond, I don't know. So Rose Diamond lied to everybody, you know, and it makes like a lot of things like click into place, you know. The whole episode with Lion, and like why Pearl was like so upset that Rose Diamond was keeping secrets from her. It makes sense, right? Like, Pearl literally knew everything. She knew Rose's biggest secret, and she still kept something like Lion like hidden from Rose, hidden from Pearl. So it's like that's, and then you think like, you know, how she's been with her through this whole stuff, and Pearl's whole relationship with Rose Diamond was built on like this web of lies and deceit and craziness, and it's like that will mess somebody up going forward. Like, and then on top of that, she still lied to you about, well, not lied, but she still hid things from you. That must have been crazy, world shattering to Pearl. And now we understand why she was so crazy. Like Pearl, all of the stuff that Pearl's done throughout the series just makes so much more sense now. But yeah, this episode was pretty wild. I mean, even like this, should Steven feel some way about that? He's a diamond now. Like, literally the diamond was just the Rose Quartz gem, like flipped upside down, right? Like it looked the same. But yeah, that episode was just nuts. But I will say, you know, the clever use of the metaphor of Steven going deeper and deeper into Pearl's psyche to find these repressed memories, I just think it's kind of funny. And then it was the Pearl at the very end who had the phone, and like the look she gives him is just like, sorry I made you come out all this way, but like she really wanted him to know this stuff That's what gets me. You know, it's pretty coy. You know, a lot of the stuff that's going on. Now let's talk one more thing. All right, so going forward, Steven, by extension, is Pink Diamond, right? So in my opinion, like, I never really liked this. It kind of like creates that thing where someone's not special because they work hard or because they're like it's no more like a story of like anything's possible, but now it's always like you were destined to be good. It's like, for instance, I don't know, it's the idea that what happened in Naruto, right? Like, Naruto is this underdog story about work, you know, about this kid who was hated and he's worked hard and he became a hero by the end of the story. But at the very end of the series, they tried to pull this whole like Naruto was a reincarnation of someone who was super powerful, so that's why he was destined to be a hero. It's the easiest way to kill probably like one of the most compelling elements of the story. You know, Rose Quartz being just a Rose Quartz who led an uprising against against the tyrannical government is like one of the coolest things about the series. But now it's like, nah, she was always strong. Like, she was just a diamond. Now it's more like the diamond rebelling against the tyrannical dictators. So it's like it's one of their own. It was never a grassroots organization of. I mean, it became that because, you know, we did have other gems coming in, but it was never led by just a nobody. You know, just a Rose Quartz that figured out that we got to do something. So it was led by a diamond in the skies, which, you know, leads to other, you know, you can go other places with that. But now by extension, Steven is a diamond. So now it's not about Steven, you know, finding his gem powers and being just a Steven, but he's also got the immense powers of being a diamond at the same time, in a way. So it's like, he's not as relatable anymore because now it's more of a, he was always special from the start because he was a diamond, essentially. He was a Rose Quartz diamond, Rose diamond, whatever you want to call it. But it also, so I think what that does is it opens up the route that Steven, if he tells the diamonds this, can open up dialogue with them because he's also a diamond. Like, I could very well see it being a thing where Steven finally, like, is able to talk to Blue and Yellow and probably explains all this. Like, hey, like, it wasn't a Rose Quartz that did this. It was one of you guys. It was a diamond. She saw the beauty in Earth. And you guys didn't see that. You didn't see the signs that she herself didn't want this anymore. And you guys are like overbearing parents. Like, it could totally go that way, where instead of like having to convince the diamonds that the Earth is beautiful because a random Rose Quartz saw beauty in it, now they can open up the dialogue of the Earth is beautiful because one of your own diamonds saw it as beautiful. So you gotta respect that, right? You guys love pink, like, and they do. You know, Blue and Yellow love Pink Diamond. So by extension, they should love the things that she loves, even though they don't really agree with her. But now that she's gone, where can it go from here? So that's why I'm thinking that White Diamond is totally going to be like the final villain of the series. Just because I feel like Pink and Blue can totally be persuaded into loving the Earth because they love Pink so much. And I feel like the minute they start doing that, kind of like that might be where the characters start to go. And, you know, Blue, especially Blue, I think Blue is going to be easier to convince. But once they start kind of doing that, then White Diamond's going to come out and really be like a boss. Like, she's going to be like, the real, like, tyrannical, crazy, like, screw all the diamonds, I'll create this world myself, or something like that. So, I don't know, that's, like, super foreshadowing, like, end of the series type stuff. That's just what I'm thinking. But, you know, the point being that now that Steven is a diamond, he could totally have, like, a diamond-to-diamond conversation. and they could totally see things in a different light. And I think that's probably where the series is going to go. I'd be surprised if it went completely in the other direction. I don't think we're going to fight Blue and Yellow Diamond. Like we're not. That's not how Steven Universe. That's not what Steven Universe is going to be about. And that's not how Steven is going to defeat them. He's not going to defeat them through just brute strength. He's going to defeat them by his powers of empathy and convincing them that Pink Diamond loved everything, so they should too, and the Earth is worth saving, and that's the general theme. It worked on Peridot, it'll work on the Diamonds, right? So that's pretty much it for my discussion video. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. I know it was a big episode. This one is huge, so I'm hoping, you know, you guys lay me your theories or your thoughts or things you liked from this episode. It was pretty great. But this might be the last episode until the summer when we get new episodes, and I'll keep talking about Steven Universe as we go along. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for other videos of discussions and reviews and stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.